Welcome to week 8. So nothing at the top has changed. Just a reminder, the drive is there, as well as everything else if you need to look at your classmates' work, because you can't sit next to each other as you show up in the class. There will be a week 9 fold out. I just haven't quite made it yet. And that will probably be the last homework next week. Week 10, there just won't be anything to do homework on. You will be doing practice finals. I need to make a practice final. It will look like the way the midterm was set up, where it's just this kind of thing with problems and you refresh it and you always get new problems. But I have to actually make it, and I haven't yet. So this week is a little weird. We're talking about the 7th chapter of the textbook, More Applications of Dimensional Analysis. And we keep using this thing that the book calls dimensional analysis because it's written by chemists, and we call unit analysis because I'm a mathematician. And we're also going to do a little bit about scientific notation and logarithms and pH because those topics flow together. I am not sure why the book spread them out the way it did. 7.1 fits with mad science measurement. 7.2 and 3 go back to what we did with unit analysis and Scoots for the SI system, for the metric system. And then the other sections go with some stuff about scientific notation and logarithms and pH that I have recently written an essay called The Angry Chemist. So here's the Angry Chemist thing, and you should go through that and be ready to talk about it. There isn't anything you need to write up this week and turn in about the Angry Chemist website. We might do that a little bit next week, but your job this week is to just read through this and find all the hidden links and enjoy learning about that kind of stuff. We'll talk about it next class, and by then I will know if there's actually homework problems about it, or if it is just that there will be problems on the practice final, and that's where you will do your stuff. In the textbook, it's too wimpy. So if I go to, I know I'm not sharing my textbook screen yet, soon, but I will. One moment. So if I go to section 8.3 with logarithms, all they want is, can I plug this into my calculator with the calculator button for a logarithm? They're not asking you to understand why it works or how it works. And when I get to pH, it's the same thing. Since the pH formula uses a logarithm, then all we're trying to do is, can I take a number and plug it in and get the answer? They don't care if you understand why or how. So that's enough to get the homework done, but I think you can do better than that. So that's why there's the Angry Chemist. Then you actually can understand why you're doing those things with your calculator button, and it might help you remember it for later. I've had all the LCC chemistry instructors look this over. They like it. They would love it if you arrive at their class knowing more than how to use a calculator button. That will make chemistry much easier, or slightly easier. So there we go. That's the Angry Chemist. This week's to-do list is a little bit different. Towards the top, it looks nice and similar. Your job now is to start planning how to end strong. So look at the achievement lists, see which colors you want to get a triple in that you don't have a triple already. There's your 10 step-by-step answers as always. And then there's an extra thing. You had a reflection at the beginning of the term in the first week, which you can still do if you want to check that off and haven't done it yet. Now there's a middle of the term survey. So we're going to look at this in just a moment. Consider, again, I always tell you this at the end, but I'm going to put it here where you'll pay attention because it says graded work. Consider meeting with me to get your achievements checked off. If you were somebody that just sent me your code name finally, then I'm sorry I haven't had time since the email to put you in the system yet, but we will do that soon. But get all caught up, and then you'll know if you actually have to do a lot of work or not before the end of the term. And then the 10 exercises for this week, only the first 4 really fit our class. You are welcome to just try those 4 and send me a code. The code will tell me which of those 4 you got right. If you don't want to do it at all, that's fine. And if you want to be ambitious and try all of them, you can. The others are about area and perimeter and stuff, and that's not really what we do. Any questions about your to-do list other than this survey I'm about to talk about? Okay, let's talk about that survey. So I'm going to put this page in chat right now, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen unless somebody has trouble because they're on a Chromebook following along, and I can share my screen if it actually helps you. But this is a list of the kinds of things to think about as your college term is halfway through, more than halfway through. Some of it is to help you balance your student life. Some of it is that if you want to be a squeaky wheel and actually get changes or help in different ways, then now is the time, because if you tell me at the very end, by the way, it would have been nice if my academic advisor did this, or if you did that, then it's kind of too late. So take a moment. I'm not sure how many minutes this will take, but it's probably worth looking at this list of questions and just put in chat, or if you can't put it in chat because you're on a phone or something, call out what one or maybe two questions on this page do you think are the most important? Your homework will be to pick 5 that you personally think are the most important and answer them. But for now, I'm just curious how much agreement we have on which 1 or 2 are key. So I will now shut up and let you think about it.
Could you just quickly review what page we're supposed to look at? And are you sharing screen, or it looks like I'm just looking at you right now, David?
I put it in the chat, Rick. I can share a screen if you want, but then the scrolling is going to
No,
cause
thanks. I'll be able to do it in the chat. Thank you.
Okay, yes, you can private message me in chat if you don't want everyone else to see which one you pick, and to affirm things you don't need to answer it now. In fact, I don't want you to answer it now. Just pick which question you think is important. Until just now, we had no one pick the same thing as anyone else, which was kind of interesting, but not too surprising. Okay, keep doing this if you want. I'm going to switch to the Jamboard and talk about the context to this, because, oops, that's not what I want. Only part of my job is to teach your math. Okay, get rid of that, get rid of that. So why are we doing the survey? Again, I just put in the to-do list that we have the survey happening this week. And part of my job as your math teacher is to make a nice math class, especially in a term like this where it's remote and we're only together like half the time we should be because of how it was initially scheduled with hybridness. Then how do I make some sense of classroom and community and so on in a class? And how I think of this, I'm going to share for a few minutes. If it's a waste of time, I apologize, but I think some of you either are or will be group leaders and might care about this. So I'm first of all thinking that in college, there are sort of two kinds of classes. Traditionally, there are classes like this first paragraph where the classes behave. Maybe people don't actually believe this, but the grading behaves like everyone starts perfect. You're all on the A+ track, and your job is to not get marked down. You want to avoid mistakes. So survive the term with as few mistakes as possible. Keep that wonderful level that you start at. Other classes, like this bottom paragraph, you start the term with a 0 in the grade book, and you have to build up points. Usually it's points. And your job is during the term to get as many points as possible. Everyone okay with this comparison right now? So why does this matter if you're a group leader? Third paragraph. So America wants to be what sociologists call an esteem culture. This is not how most people or the dictionary use the words esteem compared to respect. So you can tell me I'm not using the words the way you do. That is fine. I'm using them the way that this page uses them. So haha. In an esteem culture, everyone has esteem to start with. No one has to earn it. Everyone should treat each other well and value each other because all people deserve esteem. And of course, there are ways to lose esteem, right? We can say, oh, you don't get to vote if you're a felon, or you're a violent drunk. I don't value you as much anymore, or however it is, right? So that's how the esteem culture works. Historically, America, especially its Wild West side, has been a respect culture. The only people that have our respect have earned our respect. We live in these small towns where everyone knows each other. Travelers are suspicious because they haven't had a chance to earn our respect yet. But there's the American dream, capital letters, right? Everyone that we meet, we should give a chance to earn our respect. We will respect accomplishments and virtues no matter whose they are, and accept, of course, that people don't actually behave that way. So colleges, partly because of the grading from the previous slide, are at the forefront of this battle. How much are we an esteem culture and how much are we a respect culture? How can we blend those together? How can we fix the flaws that both of those have? How can we atone for historical wrongs and how these were implemented? That's this culture war that's going on. Questions about my second slide? No, okay, if I'm talking gibberish, that's okay. I'll just keep going. So as a group leader, because again, I'm talking about me being a teacher for when you are someday a group leader, then the solution to this is largely to ignore it. American culture is not good at thinking about the word honor, especially as a noun. What does it mean to have honor? I'm not going to talk about honor as a noun, but honoring people as a verb is the way to deal with this page. So what does it mean if you honor people? If you're using a verb, honor. Then one thing is you celebrate their successes. You've seen me do that with our achievement list and the way you turn in homework rather than have the computer grade it automatically so I can be happy when you are, and things like that. Honoring as a verb includes attentiveness to things that are shared or slipping. I've tried to call people if they're not doing their work, or email them and nag them, or both, and give you opportunities to share things together. Honoring as a verb includes using other people's time frame. That's not always possible in a college environment. We have 10 weeks to get you done, right? But to some extent, then that's part of honoring people. Honoring as a verb includes suggestions for the future. I don't necessarily want to be critical and focus on your past. I want to focus on your future and help you get where your goals are for your future. Honoring as a verb includes trusting other people's opinions by default. That my own opinions, I know I'm wrong, right? Of course I do, I'm married. But I tend to trust my opinions to start with until I figured out, nope, that one's wrong. So if you honor people, you give them the benefit of the doubt too. And you'll see those in the survey. You'll see those aspects of things showing up. They were put there on purpose. So when you are honoring people this way, then it begins by treating them with kindness they haven't earned, but you eventually see what accomplishments and shared history they do actually create. So it starts with the esteem culture, but then it moves into the respect culture automatically. Then there's this frighteningly terrible quote by Tolstoy that respect was invented to cover the empty place where love should be. But if you don't love me, it would be better and more honest to say so. I'm not going to say that's necessarily the end all of how to think about respect, but it's certainly true that if all you do is get treated by respect without any honor, it does feel a bit hollow. So those are things to think about. And hopefully it's making sense that this course is working for you, despite the fact that it is awkwardly remote and only once a week, because you are honored in it. If I'm not doing my job with that, then let me know. And if you are later on your own group leader, however that looks in your life, then maybe this will help you too. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording. Just in case people want to process this not on the record.